Hey Jason, what's happening, my man?
Not much. How you doing, man?
Good. Hey, I know it's Cup of Joe. It's a slightly different format than the last time we met, but it didn't matter. I made me a little Terramana margarita, so I don't know if you brought anything, but wanted to point that
Cup,
out.
cup of Joe with Kahlua.
Very nice. It's too late for me to have a coffee, and that's rare. I don't say that often. People are like, "Oh, I can't drink coffee after whatever." 7 p.m. is a good cutoff for me after 7. But you're a night owl, so I get it.
I am, and I love my coffee. Or I'll do like Mountain Dew or something. Not crazy. I'll do like a half a can because I don't want the late night jitters, and I want
Yeah.
to at least actually go to bed at a decent time.
So we spoke before, but just in case, Comptool is the company, and like, what's your kind of like primary focus? I have maybe some specific questions that I've been wondering about, and I thought these are going to be, I think, great just to get on, conversation, recording, that type of thing.
Mhm.
But let us know a little bit about Comptool.
Yeah, so Comptool provides computer services and sales for home users and small businesses. So we take care of residential users with PCs and Macs, a lot of break fix, virus scans, tune-ups, and installations of new hardware and equipment. So that's pretty much the gist of it. Our small businesses, we like to take care of businesses that are typically 25 employees and under. That's a good sweet spot for us. They're um, they're they're not too big where they have their own IT. If like they're part of a franchise, they typically have their own IT company. But if they're under 25 employees, they need someone to come and help them out once in a while, and that's what we do.
And you can set up everything from networking to backups to daily service or whatever, right?
Exactly, exactly.
Do you still have a partner?
Yeah, yeah, my partner Joe. Yep,
Okay.
yep. Been doing it since 1998.
Awesome. All right. So you brought up the key word, I think, viruses. And I
Hmm.
feel like you said, and you brought up 1998. I mean, I feel like computers obviously have been around since like the 50s or maybe even earlier. I don't know. But I think of it since like the 50s. And of course, they were the size of like a house. But, we've used them. And they became a thing in households, at least starting in the mid to late 90s and especially through the 2000s. And we all had, like McAfee or McAfee, depends on how you say it. We had Norton antivirus. We had all these programs, right? So, like, are today's viruses the same as yesterday's viruses?
Yes and no. So it really depends. And just to clear a myth, yes, Macs can get viruses. So I'll put that out there. You still get viruses. I don't remember, maybe 5 6 years ago we had where people's computers were getting locked down. They're getting encrypted, so they'll get a pop up where they can't open up their file. And if they try to open up, a message came up saying, "Hey, send us some Bitcoin money, $1,000, $10,000, whatever, and we'll give you an encryption key." So that's still kind of going on where if you get some kind of virus, your files can be encrypted and you can't open them up. And obviously that's not a good thing. The typical Trojan viruses are still there. They hide in your emails, they hide in websites. They you click on it and behind the scenes it puts a virus on your computer and it'll still do malicious things. Now, really, so back in the day, the viruses were just, uh, more of a game where let's see if I can hack into this system, or let me see what kind of damage I can do. Now it's a money grab. It's not just trying to be malicious and take down a government institute. It's actually trying to get money. So like today, I posted on our Comptool fan page. So please like facebook.com/Comptool. Ding. So I just posted a little public service announcement. Last couple of days, we've been getting individuals. They go to a website that they think is reputable, and all of a sudden a screen pops up and it says, "Warning: Your computer has a virus. Either you've been hacked or your computer is locked down. Call this 800 number, 844-855 number." And 9 times out of 10, it's nothing. It's really a phishing scam. Phishing being they're trying to fish and try to get you to click something. And a lot of people freak out because it's saying, "Hey, warning, warning!" You hear a voice and you hear horns in the background going, and people freak out. So they'll actually call the number, and allow them to remote into their computer. And they go, "Oh wow, look, look here. Your computer's hacked, and all these files are hacked. If you give us, $250 or $300, we'll fix it for you." And that's how they're making their money.
Now, does anybody, if they give up the money, I mean, are any of these, uh, assholes, for lack of a better term,
Yeah,
are any of
yeah.
them like, okay, cool, I'll unlock your computer for you now? Or is it like, thanks for the money and you're still screwed?
Again, depends a lot. Because it's a fake virus, and it's really not something on your computer, just a fake warning. Uh, they basically close the screen out, and they give you this fake report saying, "Oh, we cleaned it up for you. Thanks for the $250." Now you have to remember, if you give them their credit card, now they have your ID. So they use your credit card and they use it to buy other things. So it's not just the $250; they're looking to grab your ID. And plus, when they're remote into your computer, depending on the scammer, they could be looking for bank accounts. I had one client actually log into their bank account because they said, "Well, we need a certified check," and so they had them log into their bank account, and they grabbed, the key log, they grabbed their username and password, and they got into their bank account. Then they realized that there's a scam going on, so they called their bank and reset their password and everything. But they're doing identity grabs. Um, a lot of times you'll see, pay us with Bitcoin, because Bitcoin really isn't sanctioned by the government.
Mhm.
So it's not tracked. So they'll say, well, they guide you through on how to purchase Bitcoin, and they don't catch you. So it's a money grab now, money grab, and a lot of people actually do fall for it.
Sure. Well, I could see, I always question who's falling for these emails. I mean, sometimes the syntax, the grammar is so poor, but other
Mhm,
times it's not that poor and it looks pretty legit, but I still question, like in 2020, almost 2021, who is clicking on the link when they weren't expecting it.
mhm, yeah,
Normally you'll get a heads up from any major company I've ever dealt with that'll say your password's going to have to be reset in the next 10 days. And
mhm,
while they might provide a link, you can always go, like, let's just say it was Amazon, which I've never
mhm,
gotten something like that from Amazon, but I'm just saying, let's use them as an example. I
right,
could go to Amazon.com, log in, and then find the same information. And that's how I've gone about my business. But
mhm.
obviously, since I still see these emails, this still works.
It
And
still works. Yeah.
and
Mhm,
I question who's working on, but I would probably freak out if I was on my computer and a pop up popped up and I was locked. I'd at least freak out.
mhm,
I don't know that I would call the person, and I certainly know I would not exchange funds with them. But
mhm.
that's only because I've known of this type of scam that you speak of for the last few years. I'm
Yep.
hearing about it with the Bitcoin, them wanting even just one Bitcoin, so to speak, because it was a couple $1,000s at the time. And
Right.
so I wouldn't do such a thing, but I could see that working for sure.
Mhm. Yep.
You said it. You go, okay, and I just want to put it out there. Macs do get viruses,
Yeah.
but they do get them a different way, right?
No, it's still the same way. Like, you're on a web browser or in your email. You click on something, you go. Typically, you get it through an email or a file, and it runs a different executable than a PC. Obviously, PC and Macs are different, but the architecture is different. But they still, pretty much get viruses the same way. So I recently had a client that had the it popped up that said warning on there, and it downloaded some Trojan viruses on the computer. And fortunately, she did have a virus protection on there, and it caught it. It actually blocked the Trojan virus from actually executing. And that was on a Mac.
So I guess the way that I thought you might
Mhm,
get a virus would be going to non-secure websites or something along those lines,
mhm.
especially downloading sites, BitTorrent sites, whatever is popular today. I'm not sure how people, download bootleg movies, things like that.
Right.
I feel like there tends to be a little bit more safety around uh, an iOS device versus a Windows device in that realm. and that's what I guess where my question was, as far as the way that virus is executed is a little bit different in that case. Is it or is it not?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Overall, a little different, but the I guess the pathway is the same. The pathway to get it is different.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
yeah.
know for a fact that you can get them. I know for a fact that I've had better luck with my Apple devices over the last 10 years.
Mhm.
But you probably recall I emailed you once and said, Jason, I went to a downloading site, I don't know what was popular at the time, LimeWire or something like that. I'm like, I downloaded something, I clicked on it. It still was weird. It wasn't like any other download. And for whatever reason, I said, yes, let's do that. And then boom, 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 like all these little pop
Yeah.
ups and stuff. And I could never close, you couldn't close them fast enough to
Hmm.
possibly even try to like de-execute that file,
Yeah.
unexecute the
Right.
file.
Right.
And
Right.
and then you got it and you said, yeah, man, I don't know what you did, but you got a hold of a good one here.
Yeah.
Um, took you a few nights, of running the most like stringent, virus scans and everything like that to try and get in there and dig that thing out of there.
Mhm.
So it definitely can happen.
Mhm.
But is there more safety with a Mac or no?
Uh, there is, yes, kind of, only because there's not that many Macs out there compared to PCs, and Macs aren't really that targeted because there's more PCs than Macs out there. They're going to target PCs, but um, Macs are becoming more popular. We repair them, we fix them a lot. They're really out there, and it doesn't matter. When you go to a website, it doesn't matter if it's on a mobile device, a Mac, or a PC. The virus is on there, so you can even get on your phone. You can get viruses on your phone. So you go to a website and it says, okay, it knows if it's a mobile device, if it's a Mac, if it's an iPad, if it's a PC, if it's a Linux computer. It knows what is coming in, and based on what's coming in, they'll say, okay, well, it's a Mac, so let's do this Mac attack. Let's do this Android attack.
Sure.
So now the operating systems are probably programmed a little better and a little bit more safeguarded from stuff coming in. Like if something comes in or wants to install, there's some safeguards that say, wait a minute, something will pop up and you have to put a password in, stuff like that. So there's a little bit more safeguards, but you should still always have a virus scanner on any mobile device, any PC, any Mac.
Sure. Well, and especially because if you have a Mac like I do, that
Hmm.
you're right, that pops up all the time, right? It's like you need to put in your password to allow this to happen. Sometimes it's even if I haven't been on a site in a while and I need to access my passwords, right? So I've stored all my passwords for all my things over the last 10 or 12 years in life and
Yep.
all on iCloud. And I need to add my password just to get to it. I mean, there's no doubt that somebody has given that password and that information to the wrong hands,
Hmm.
even like you said, thinking that you're doing the right thing because we do it all the time. You know,
Hmm.
it does pop up. If I go to download, the latest Adobe, or the latest Java or anything that you even need for your computer, I have to put in my password. So I'm so used to just hit my password
Right.
that I'm
Right.
sure if the false malicious thing popped up, you just go and then you hit enter and you go like, oh no, I shouldn't have done that.
Right. You're right. You're a creature of habit. You're a creature of habit. You just type put in your password and you're used to that.
Especially if like I made my password fairly easy for just my computer and not for like things that I actually have to log into. And
Hmm.
so, because I'm the only person that actually uses it. And although
Hmm.
it's easy, I don't think it's something that anyone would just randomly guess, to like a birthday or something like that.
Right.
And so, yeah, it's super easy for me to punch that in. And I could definitely see myself screwing that up for sure.
Right. Right. Right.
So one of the things I really did want to maybe dive into was, you're a guy who, well before uh, Trump was tweeting about it and people were debating it and it was going to become banned, you were anti TikTok. You said it wasn't safe. Um, And I don't know, because like this is the issue with like social media, right? If you say it's not safe, I don't know what you mean by that. You're a computer guy, so what I assumed was you meant it's not safe for security purposes, but maybe you meant it's not safe because like kids are on it and kids are doing stupid stuff. So I guess like, what did you mean? Why did you say that, and why would you still probably say that? I'm pretty sure you say that today. Why is that the case?
I do say that today, multiple reasons. And there's a lot of conspiracy theories and politics and all that jazz, which I don't adhere to when it comes to reality. So TikTok is primarily, it's a is an Asian um, born entity, and they're held to different standards. Like here in the United States, we do, you see a lot about fact checking and security and child protection and those sorts. There's a lot of things the United States does great to protect the consumer. Where over in China, there's a lot of bootlegs, stuff gets hacked. There's nothing you can do. So TikTok has a history of compromising data and information. So you have that program installed on your computer, on your tab, on your mobile device, and you put in your username, password, your birth date, and those sorts of things, and that information goes back, overseas. So it really depends on, do you trust that? Do you really are you really concerned about that? I would say the average user is not. So and I would say 99% of the people don't read that, I accept agreement. So um and it's I'm not going to go down, the Chinese government, wormhole, but there is concerns with that there. And plus, some of the content on there, if your children are on it, a lot of content on there may not be appropriate, even though they may say, "Oh yeah, I'm over 18."
Mhm.
It's very difficult for children to monitor that. So from a security standpoint, as far as like data mining and your information being, sold overseas or what have you, and as far as proper child content, um, that's really up to the consumer and up to the parent.
So I'll back up a little bit. So
Mhm.
ByteDance is the parent company. ByteDance bought out Musically, and not too long after, because my 11-year-old was on Musically, and at the time he was probably 7 or 8, and he was on it because his cousins were on it, and so they could make like um, uh, almost like karaoke videos that were funny and send them to each other, and that was really all they could do at the time.
Mhm.
There was probably more that people could do. That was all they could do, um, and so then TikTok bought them, and for their purposes, it stayed the same for a little while. But eventually, it became more like what we see today, especially with the dances and things like that. And I remember one particular day, he was really bent out of shape. And I was like, hey, dude, what's going on? And basically, it was because um, who is it? It's not the FDA, the FTC, maybe. Um, find them
Yeah, yeah.
and find them like $4 million. I mean, $7 million. It was under 10, which
Mhm.
obviously for you or I is extraordinary, but
Right.
for a company of their size is not extraordinary.
Mhm.
And so they find them and they made them do some different things because they said you have no warnings
Mhm.
for adult content material. And I don't mean like pornography. I just mean swearing or um,
Right.
sometimes I guess
Content.
bad
Mhm.
content. I mean, rated R adult content,
Right,
rated
right.
E kid content. And
Mhm.
so he logged in, and basically what they did was they said, put in your birthday. And
Mhm.
him being like 9 or 10,
Mhm.
he's like, oh, my birthday's, July.
Right.
And they go, cool, see ya. And I mean, I don't know what the exact message was, but they just deleted your account. And it was really a strange thing because that was what they did. They deleted your account, or at least they made you not able to access it. So here he was with 81 completely innocent videos that he mostly shared amongst cousins and maybe 5 or 6 friends. He was
Yeah.
a public profile. He didn't have those videos. Now, in the grand scheme of things, does that really matter? Of course not. When you're
Right.
10, did that matter? 81 videos, no more funny videos to share? that was the, at least that day, it was the end of his day. He was,
That's your world. Yeah.
and so that was their way of handling it. But of course, what was our way of handling it? Well, I said, okay, I know what you're doing. You have a private account. You can't do this. You can't do that. Go ahead and put in that you're 13. Put in your birthday is, X year, whatever year it had to be at the time.
Right. Mhm.
Right. And so TikTok now has what, like a 13-year-old, a 16, I think, and 18 and over. I think you have to
Mhm.
be 16 to go live or something like that.
Mm. Okay.
And
Mhm.
then 18, of course, I'm sure you can do whatever. As a
Right.
parent, I become concerned because as a person on Instagram, who I'm really on Instagram personally, I follow a lot of comedians. I follow a lot of inappropriate content, so to speak, memes and things.
Sure.
And with
Mhm.
those memes, you see advertisements for um, things like an OnlyFans site or whatever. And I'll
Right.
see a TikTok, and they'll
Mhm.
say in their TikTok, "Follow me on this, follow me on that." And I
Mhm.
think to myself, "Geez, is my son getting that content?"
Right.
Um,
Right. Yeah.
so that's a different concern, though, and that's a whole. I mean, that's the internet today, right? Like we have to be concerned
Yeah,
about.
that's with any website or any app or whatever.
But when I think about the security, I mean,
Mhm.
like, okay, so my kid had to put in basically a false birthday, a
Right.
potentially real or false name, and I don't even know what else.
Mhm.
So what's your concern? I mean, like they don't have his real name, they don't have his real birthday, they might not have his real phone number, and they have an email that we made up for the account. So as a guy who's saying, well, there's data mining, there could be concerns with the Chinese government, like, I mean, honestly, I have some of these answers, but I'm really questioning, like, who cares? Like, what's the big deal?
Yeah. So again, it goes back to user preference. I know TikTok, they're really, they're kind of freaking out because they want to have the American audience, and here you have government entities saying, you have deadlines, you better get your act together. I think at one point, Microsoft and other companies were looking at buying the American flavor of TikTok and then say, okay, well, we're an American company, we're Microsoft, we're safe, we will monitor all that stuff, and that was going to go through. Then all was good. Then they said, well, you can't really break off a piece of customers because that's not how that works. But as far, but so because there's so much like you don't know. There's so much unknown. Like, is it safe? Is it not safe? You hear reports, and even if you remove yourself from the conspiracy theory of them, hacking into your computer and all that stuff. Even if you remove all the conspiracy stuff and look at the fact of the potential of if it's your real data and real data mining, and there's some things you can pay for with your credit card and stuff. Does that concern you? Is that does it concern you that your funds and your information is overseas? If not, then more power to you. I mean, who cares? Just you just have to be on the safe side. Just make sure check your credit score. Make sure if you're like me, every couple weeks check your bank account. Make sure nothing's going on there. Check your credit card purchases. I use mint.com, which is a free service. I can go in there every day and instantly, like if I do a credit card transaction, like for an example, I was looking at my bills and I'm wondering why is it high all of a sudden? And I forgot I had made I was buying some gift cards for the holiday season. I'm like, okay, that's why it's high. Then I see like three charges for Michigan lottery. I'm like, uh-oh, that's like a flag. $5, $5, $10. I'm like, uh-oh, because now you can buy lotto, right, with credit
Yeah,
cards in
yeah, like
Michigan, which
credit
I'm
card.
which I'm like,
And
oh, that's kind of
you don't even have to go to like Speedway or something. You can just log on to the website and use your credit card. It's
that's cool and scary at the same time.
right.
So I asked my wife, I'm like, were you buying some stocking stuffer? She's like, oh shoot, you weren't supposed to find out. So
Right.
so fortunately, it was her, trying to buy me a nice stocking stuffer type thing as a little fun thing. But you have to be mindful and just, especially if you do online shopping in general, not just worry about TikTok in China, but you're on Amazon. So, safe, secure, they do the best thing they can. Walmart, Walgreens, whoever, just public service announcement. Just check your credit statements every once in a while and make
Sure.
sure nothing crazy is going on.
My wife has Mint, and for a
Mm.
couple of reasons. One,
Mhm.
to allocate where we're spending our money, and then the other for what you just said. And for a while we've had the same credit cards, and I maximize points for our travel, which right now travel uh,
Yeah.
doesn't have, but I still do it, okay, because I know one day we'll travel again. And so last week I shopped for her birthday, which is not something we normally do, but we were going to travel for her birthday and kind of for mine, which is a couple months later. And needless to say, we did not travel, so I figured, okay, well then I'm going to get her something, and something nicer than I would normally get. And as I'm doing it, I'm like, son of a, she's gonna get an alert on Mint. So I had to
Yep.
and it sucked. So I had to text her and say, hey, do you have this card on your Mint? She goes, I'll check. I go, no, don't check. And I was like, I bought you something for your birthday, and this sucks. When you signed up, I knew this was the case, but we don't normally buy stuff for each other, so it wasn't
Right. Yeah.
a deal. We don't buy stuff for each other for Christmas. We don't buy birthday gifts. We and so yeah, but so I guess that brings up a different question though. Forget Chinese versus American companies and any conspiracies or beliefs or whatever.
Right. Hmm.
Okay, why is it okay for you to store all of your information on Mint but not somewhere else?
Hmm. Again, user preference. A lot of people won't do that. A lot of people like I I I fall into the category of my information is out there anyway, so it's already taken. So I mean, there's nothing I can do.
That's me too.
Uh, and my ID has been compromised probably 4 times in my lifetime, and fortunately, all 4 times I was able to recoup my monies. So
Yeah.
back in late '90s, my credit card was compromised. It was something like it was a debit card, which automatically takes out your bank account, so you kind of freak out more because credit cards are really good. Credit cards are like, hey, we'll take care of it, no big deal. But back then, it was a huge deal where you have a debit card and it pulls out of your cash funds, right? And you need that money to pay bills. And me, who's starting a career with no money, I was like really freaking out. And fortunately, the bank at the time, within a few days, 4 days, I think it was, they recouped my money back. I'm like, oh my God, I was so lucky because you hear horror stories of, yeah, they hacked into your bank account and, you're screwed. And then the last time, I can't remember the last time it's been over 6, 7 years, but anyways, so that's I'm really due diligent because I mean, right now, especially with COVID, um, really the only way to buy anything is with your credit card.
Hmm.
I mean, you can't eat anywhere, you can't dine, you can't have a beer. You have to DoorDash everything. You have to, like, if you go to Kroger, you're in there like for 5 minutes, zoom in and out, and you pay with a credit card, and they say, well, we don't accept cash because there's a change shortage,
Yeah,
which is kind of crazy to me. We don't have change.
possibly another
And
conspiracy theory.
yeah, another conspiracy theory. Yeah, yeah. So there's my tinfoil hat. So, um, and so you have to use a form of online. So, but banks, because banks and institutes, they're really doing their due diligence. They really don't want you to get screwed because they like if there's $1,000 purchase on there, chances are they're going to eat it. Chances are the bank is going to eat $1,000 purchase, and there's still a lot of scamming going on, but I don't know. I just feel safe. I feel safe online. I've seen all the horror stories. I know what to avoid. I know what to not click on. I know, look in the upper right hand corner, make sure it's got the lock on there that's green to make sure that the site is secure, and trust your websites and stuff like that. I don't buy stuff on random websites I've never been to. If it's a new site, like a lot of times, especially around Christmas time, right? On the holidays, you want to buy something special, and let's say you want to buy a scarf, and Amazon, let's say, doesn't sell scarves, for an example, or Walmart just has stupid stuff, and you want a specific Mandalorian with Baby Yoda scarf on it or something.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
Louis Vuitton, but okay, Mandalorian
yeah,
with the child on there, sure.
there you go. Yeah, the child on there, or maybe one with the tauntaun. Go old school, right? um, so so you go to a website that says happyscarves.com or something. Well, I don't know. I don't. That might be a bad website. But anyway, so you go to happyscarves.com, and it looks secure, but you do your research online and say, hey, is this website legit? And just look at the reviews to see if it's legit. So as long as the end user does their due diligence to make sure that they're safe, they most likely they will be safe. And especially like your wife, checking out mint.com or all those places, um, check your credit scores and contest any transactions that are bad.
Yeah.
So
So, does the S, the HTTPS colon backslash backslash, we don't pay attention to that stuff normally, but does
right.
that still mean something, or are the hackers and is the, dark web and all that stuff so advanced that that's even not that big a deal anymore?
I mean, to my knowledge, that's still good. HTTPS is for security, and you actually have to get a sanctioned certificate. So it's not something that you can just build on your own. You can build certificates on your own, but it'll have a different color or it'll be unlocked, and that's your key sign that says, "Hey, this was something that was man-made," if you will. And you have to actually get that cert. You actually pay a company. If you're a business, you have to pay a company to get an actual certificate. So the certificate company does their due diligence to make sure you're legit, and it says, okay, well, here's your cert. Now you can upload it to your website, and boom, you're safe. So
Is there currently an issue that you're aware of where um, false companies are advertising on big sites like a Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or something like that?
yeah, all the time. Like Amazon, Amazon has a lot of false companies on there because you probably know this, but maybe for a lot of your viewers, they may not know that. Okay, so it's Amazon. Well, let's see, Amazon, Target, Walmart, all the big box stores do this. When you go to Amazon and you buy something through Amazon, you think it's coming from Amazon's warehouse. Well, not necessarily true. It'll say on there, sold by, you know, uh, sold by Monster Truck, company, and people have like their mini shops in Amazon. You pay to be on there, and you're scrutinized, really crazy. So there might be these fly-by-nighters you'll see on there where they're actually selling. They could be selling inappropriate things. They could be selling stuff that's been uh, bootleg stuff, and then Amazon will just close them up right away. Same thing with eBay. eBay is the same way too, where you're obviously think of Amazon like an eBay without bidding. So you go on eBay and you're bidding for something, and obviously it's not coming from Amazon's warehouse. It's coming from you and me, or maybe our businesses.
Mhm.
But when Amazon finds out that eBay finds out that it's stuff that you should not be selling on there, like guns or inappropriate type things, they will shut you down right away. So you have to be careful. So if it's a company, like I tell users, like especially with eBay, um, someone buys something, like they want that the child scarf, and they have no reviews, or they only have one or two reviews. Just it's like, oh, they're new. You might want to go somewhere else. Same thing with Amazon. You'll see the reviews of not only the product but of that store as well. So if they're new and fresh, be skeptical. Be skeptical. I know, they're a small business, they're starting out, you want to help them out, but be skeptical and make sure the reviews are not bad.
Yeah, and I would say I would add to that. I don't know with Amazon that this is a possibility, but with other sites or even independent sites, if I was on the Happy Scarves or whatever site that
Mhm,
we made up
mhm.
.com, if you could buy through something like PayPal, because PayPal
Right.
has their own protections,
That's a
and
good point. Right.
so there's still other security measures you can take if you can't verify the site. Um, excuse me, that you can go on and if you pay through a PayPal, I don't know what other pay vendor is like that. I mean, I use Venmo and Cash App, but I use them
Yeah.
as friends, not for payments of
Hmm.
services and goods. um, but that's another option, obviously, for people to try and protect themselves.
Hmm.
um, and like you said, with a credit card versus debit card, using a credit card, generally speaking, they can easily just shut that credit card off, file the
Right.
claim, not charge you, and fix the problem.
Hmm.
Whereas the debit card, they can shut the card off, but your account might be frozen for a couple of weeks. That could be a real issue. For most people, that's going to be an issue. The
I
only
agree. Yeah.
account that I can get my money into and out of is frozen.
Right.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah. And I can't get my direct deposit in there. That's not good.
right? Yeah, and
Mhm.
and yet I'm still supposed to pay my bills. And
Right. Yeah.
Bank of America, you understand, but yet my mortgage company doesn't. So
No, no, they don't.
yeah,
No,
it definitely
they're
could be.
late.
Um, so another thing that I see all the time, and I'm just curious if you see on your side like why this is the fake Facebook accounts, and
Mm.
it's the or Instagram accounts. It's the fake DM, hey
Mhm.
cutie,
Yeah. Yeah.
here's my site or something like that.
Mhm.
I mean, not because you're clicking on them, but
Mhm.
because of what you do. Are you finding that any of these sites are actually legit, or are these also phishing, scamming sites generally? Because I always assume it doesn't matter if they're legit or not. I have no reason to click on them. If
Mhm.
I was looking for that type of content, I would actually search it out. I wouldn't wait for it to come through a DM. Um,
Right. Right.
and,
Yeah.
and so, what's your take on that as like an IT professional?
So like when I get those, I automatically, because they will, I think they'll send you a message, DM direct message or PM private message. They'll send it to you directly, or Natasha wants to talk with you. I'm like, I'm happy in my life. I don't need that crap. So I just say ignore, delete, or whatever.
Yeah,
But it's it's phishing. So there are people out there that they will click on it, and it may not just be Natasha's trying to get a hold of you, but it may be a business or something like the big joke is we're trying to get a hold of you because for your auto insurance.
right.
So they're trying to get you on there, and it may be legit. They're trying to find a friend, or they're trying to have you go to their like fans only or whatever page, and you pay for that stuff. They're trying to rope you in to pay for something legit, but a lot of it is scamming too. A
Mhm.
lot of it's scamming too, and that's an whole buyer beware type thing. So you just really, because like you'll see on Facebook, you're friends with let's say you're friends with John Smith, and he all of a sudden he sends you a friend request. It's like, well, I'm already friends with John Smith, so why is John Smith here again?
Yeah.
Then you're like, oh well, maybe he unfriended me. Maybe we had an argument or something. He canceled me and he wants me back. And I'm like, okay, you might click yes and say, hey, we're friends. And it's actually that person is data mining and they're trying to get content um, from you or that person, and or they do the whole thing like, hey, this is John Smith. I'm at the I'm in jail and I need $500 bail money. Type stuff. And people do fall for it. People do fall
Sure.
for it.
Sure. Well, especially if John was the type of guy to, do some silly stuff, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
John's a drunk. Yeah, he's crazy.
yeah. Right. I mean, I got a legit call from somebody who was not a troublemaker and they needed bailed out one night, So, yeah, you're right. So, okay. So I'm starting a business and I'm going to have 15 employees. So I need 15 computers and I need you to set me up. What are you blocking on my computer or their computers? What are you telling me, we should or shouldn't do? Like what's the plan? Because I feel like there's so much out there. You can't stop it all, but
Mhm.
what are you starting us with? What are we, preventing?
So especially with 15 employees, as you know, the more employees you have, the harder it is to manage and maintain them, right? So, and it's not, and I think you come with the same mindset as me. As we want to trust the employee, we want to trust our friends. They're not inherently malicious, but we just want to be careful because now we're spreading our time with the individual. So you have 15 employees, 15 computers, and you have software protection loaded on the computers. You have software protection, virus scan protection, firewalls. So if they do go somewhere, it's automatically blocked. So that's on the computer. Then the piping, there's connection to the router, and then the router, there's another firewall box that has another layer of protection there too. So if they try to download something or go to a site that you determine that, hey, if any of these 15 computers wants to download something or put in a credit card information, they have to come to me and ask for a login, or ask, hey, why are you putting in credit card information? So there's multiple layers of protection that you can do just within the system. That way you're not like, hey, Sally, why are you doing this? John, why are you doing this? You're not, watching over them. If you suspect somebody is actually Facebooking a lot and they shouldn't be, or they're going on La La Land and they're just not doing their job, that there's software you can put on there, kind of like spying software. You can go back and kind of monitor and watch and see what they're doing, then address it that way. Other important thing too is, especially with 15 employees, is to provide them proper training. Sit down with them and communicate with them and say, look, these are some gotchas. Don't click on any links. Even if it's someone they're not going to send you a link. Don't open up emails from the FBI. You got to give them training. You have to train them. And it's funny because you and I are pretty smart, but once in a while we might get stuck with something, but it's a good refresher for even you and me.
Yep.
So as long as you got some kind of yearly or half a year training program where you just kind of show them that, say, look, it's been a year since we talked, or it's been 6 months since we talked. Here are 3 new things that just happened. Here cryptocurrencies and all this other craziness is going on. That's false. That's trying to get you in. You're constantly educating them, and they go, "Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right." So.
Yeah, and based on the circumstances, we all might make a bad decision.
Sure, and it happens. Yeah.
I remember about 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, it was March because I was getting ready to go out to Las Vegas for March Madness. So I was leaving the family, leaving the kids. The boys were really getting into wrestling, and Monday Night Raw, WWE Monday Night Raw, was coming to Detroit.
Yeah.
Of course, I could have bought the tickets, but I didn't. And here we were. I was going to leave Wednesday. I'm feeling guilty. I'm leaving them. I'm going to go have my fun. And so I should take them and let them have some fun too. And plus, it'll be a little, bonding experience and stuff.
Yeah.
So the tickets are pretty much sold out. There's a few left, but they're way up there. And no offense to those seats and the people that are buying them, but I just am not interested in going to see the show that high up.
Right.
And so I find somebody on I don't know, eBay, Craigslist, Facebook. I don't remember where.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, I want to buy your tickets. And they go, okay, great. Send me the money. And I'm like, well, why don't we meet up? Because they're supposed to be local, right? So we might live 45 minutes from each other, but it's worth a little meetup.
Yeah, let's meet in the middle. Be safe. Yeah.
Yeah. So I said, I can't do that. They're digital anyways, which is a legit thing. Ticketmaster, I don't even know if they print tickets anymore. So I said, okay, cool. I'll PayPal you the money. They go, well, I don't have a PayPal account, which is legit, right? Not everyone has a PayPal account. I said, well, you could start one. And they're like, well, I have, these other options, right?
Right.
And I go, yeah, I'm not doing that. This is
Yeah.
like at noon. So for the next few hours, I'm constantly looking back, trying to find if anyone's got some last minute tickets available. Sometimes even Ticketmaster / the venue, WWE or Joe Louis Arena or LCA or whoever might have those tickets available because they rearrange the seats. They might actually, I've known people that have gotten great seats just hours before a show because of it.
Yeah, they do that on purpose. Like they hold on to a bucket of them, or like instead of rearrange them in a couple hours before. Boom! Hey, we got 15
Right.
tickets. Like, oh
yeah. So I'm looking. 3:00. This person says, "Hey, no one's bought these tickets. Do you still want them?" Yeah, I do. So they send me like a screenshot of the digital tickets or whatever. I'm like, okay, and here's me. I'm getting more desperate, right? So
right. Yeah.
I'm going, this is a bad decision. And I Zelle them the money. For anyone who is not aware, Zelle is obviously a bank-to-bank transfer. So when you do that, if you've never done one, I send Jason $300. It says, do you know Jason? Do you want to send Jason $300? And I go, yes, I do.
Yes,
and then the money's gone.
Hmm.
And so this is the difference between Zelle and say PayPal, and probably the difference between Venmo and Cash App, and I don't even know what other sites, and PayPal, is that that money is now gone. And because I said, yes, send it, I
Yeah.
authorized it. So it's
Right.
much like a wire transfer. You
Yeah.
said to send this money, it's gone. It went to where you said to send it. There is no repercussion, there is no ramification. Your
Right.
problem.
Right.
You can report it, like I could report it to say FBI or somebody like that because maybe this person's out there running scam after scam after scam. But needless to say, the phone number didn't work anymore. All that stuff. As soon as that $300 or whatever it was sent, and it was somewhere around there. I mean, I was really dumb, right?
Right.
I mean, I'm embarrassed to tell the story because I
Right.
knew at 12 o'clock not to do that. I knew if they didn't have PayPal or wouldn't sign up, I've gotten on apps because you'll send me money. If Jason wants to send me $300 and I don't have money.com, I'm downloading that thing so I can get my 300 bucks, you know?
Right. Right. Exactly. Right.
So it was a bad mistake. And so you're right when it comes to training, discussions, talking to your staff, your friends, your family, whoever it is,
Yeah.
because the desperate situation was I really wanted to take the boys and
You
tickets.
really want to take them. Right.
I made a really stupid decision.
Yeah.
And then it was even dumber because I was heading to Vegas and I was $300 late and we didn't even have an experience. So
Oh, yeah. Man.
so what
But
else is
yeah,
out
you
there
yeah,
today?
but you can use that story to share and warn people, you know.
Well, and I have in not just here, but I was talking to somebody and they were like, "How stupid do you think I am?" I was like, "I don't think you're stupid at all.
Hmm.
In fact, I know I'm not stupid, and especially when it comes to scams on the internet, let me tell you about my experience. And I can tell that story because, I mean, I'm the one that kind of almost laughs at people who click on the link for the Nigerian prince or whatever it was.
Right.
Like
Right.
almost,
Right.
how stupid could you be? You almost deserve to
Yeah.
lose your money.
Yeah. Hello. You're dumb. What? And
And
here you are. Click, 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 click. I want to go.
what else is out there that we need to know about today, or what else? I mean, not just like, oh, be careful, but like, what are actively happening in late 2020 that we should be raising an eyebrow to, or at least paying close attention to?
One thing, this is kind of out of the realm of what most people would go into, but this is for like investors, those that are investing overseas or currencies. So like the stuff that we had talked about, before about the clickbait, the phishing scams, the viruses, all that's still happening, and that's going to be like 90 some percent of the average user. But those that are like stepping it up a notch, and because they're trying to invest overseas or whatever, and you might have seen some of my posts or not aware. I'm into investing, and I like to follow businesses and see how they grow and invest into stocks and bonds and those sorts of things. And it's like, okay, well, let me step up my game here a little bit, and let's look into this, Bitcoin, and let's look into currencies overseas, and where you pull money together. And so I forget the name of it, and even if I remember, I'm not going to say what it is because it may or may not be legitimate. But seriously, I don't remember what it's called. But there's something out there where you can like you deposit $2,000, right? You put $2,000 in, and what it is everyone puts in $2,000, and that money is used to buy either Bitcoin, because like I think Bitcoin is like $16,000 now a share, something crazy.
Yep.
So you buy a portion of Bitcoin, you pool together your money, whether it's with you or strangers, and this company, this bank, buys it for you, and the caveat is you can't touch it for a month because it's using it as an investment machine, and then you can pull out a month later, or you can take that money like a dividend and roll it over and buy more, and on and on and on and on. So I'm looking into it, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool. And actually, a good friend of mine who does investing with me, she had mentioned this, and it's like, okay, well, it's coming from her. She's not stupid. She does this, and she makes money doing some things like this. Let me look into it. Well, after doing my research, um, it's uh, it's not. I can't think of the word, but it's not sanctioned or blessed by the United States government. You know how our banks have, um, the government says, okay, your money's protected, and we will, if there's a scam, we will protect you, right? So this didn't have the protection from the U.S. government. It didn't have protection from Britain, and it didn't have protection from the UK. And it's like, okay, well, that tells me no. And then I'm like, okay, so that's really a no for me. Let me do some more research because this thing really looks cool, right? And not from a desperate aspect of it, but it's like I want to make money, you
Right.
know. So maybe what else is going here? Our government is stupid, and we should allow this to happen. Then I look into it. It's like, well, I put my $2,000 in, then I contact, Joe and say, "Hey, Joe, why don't you put $2,000 in? I get 10% of it." And I'm like, "Okay." So it's like I'm building kind of a pyramid here. So it looked like a Ponzi scheme or a pyramid scheme. I'm like, "Okay, well, and that's one thing I hate is when making money, I hate, asking other people like, well, let's invest. I need 10 grand from you to buy this house. I'm just not that. I'm more of a personal, just me. I want to invest me in my bubble. I don't want to bug Joe for money to do investing. So that was a no for me. Then the third thing was, well, I'm going to do some research. I talked about on Amazon or eBay where you research the product or the company. So let me investigate this company. And I swear to God, I found zero reviews. Even in buried like Reddit, you can go down a rabbit hole in Reddit, and nothing. I found like no reviews, nothing about this company. I'm like it never existed, like it just started today, type thing. And I'm like, well, let me go back to the Wayback Machine or archive.org. And if for those who don't know what that is, you go to archive.org and you put in a website. You can put Microsoft.com, and it takes a snapshot of when that website was first um, born. Let's say back in whenever websites in the 90s, and then it's kind of cool. You can kind of progressively look and see how that website evolved throughout the decades. And this website had like no saved archived information, like it never existed. But on the bottom it said copyright 19, it's 19. It said 2018, like it's been there for 2 years, which is BS because it was just put up like a week ago. So I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, 1, 2, strike four, you're out.
Yeah. Well, and it's so. This is what's so interesting, and this is where, gosh, I feel like we could probably, especially you and I, could probably talk for hours more.
Right.
Research, right?
Yeah.
Um, I mean, we hear about it all the time when it comes to the political thing or like sharing stories on Facebook. People say, do your research. And it's
Right.
the same
Right.
thing because what you just described is a legitimate thing, right? Like there are companies, in fact, all the big companies now are doing it where I could put $100 in and buy a little portion of Amazon. And this
Mhm.
was supposed to be a big thing for allegedly millennials. That was who they were
Right.
targeting because who's got $2,000 for one share of one stock, you know.
Right. Right.
Um, and so if you're younger and starting out your investment portfolio, maybe you have $2,000.
Mhm.
Well, what do we always know or hear? Don't put all your eggs in one basket. So even
Right.
though
Diversify. Yeah.
I don't want to buy one share of Amazon. I want to buy a little bit of Amazon and Apple and Google and Tesla and Ford and GM. I want to diversify, and so you could do that, right? You could buy. So these are legit. And then going back even before that, we know that there have been and the name slipping me right now, which is horrible considering my industry, but the same type of thing where maybe 10 of us could all put in $100,000, buy a $1 million property in San Francisco, and then a year from now we could sell that for 2.2 million because that's the way it goes out there. And so these are legitimate investments. And so we know those things, and that, and you go, oh, cool. Now I can get into crypto at an affordable rate for $2,000 versus 18 or 16 or whatever. And
Right.
um, and if you don't do your research and you don't know the way to do your research, because that's I think a problem for some people. They
Yeah, that's a good point, Joe. Right.
right like
Mhm.
I literally learned 50 something minutes in about archive.org. I've never heard of it. Right. So here we are. I got a new site to know. So we don't know how to do research sometimes, and then sometimes we just don't do research, right? Um,
Right.
it's a really big thing, and I think you can't be safe enough when it comes to your money and when it
Mhm.
comes to the internet, which really could be your money. You don't know.
Mhm.
uh, you don't know who's going to have access and who's going to do something malicious. So you always got to be safe. Jason, you're sitting in, I don't even know what room that is of your house right now.
Yeah, it's basically underneath the stairs.
Yeah. Well, going back to like the '90s, that was a movie, right? Like about the people under the stairs or something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Critters under the stairs or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
something
yeah.
along those lines. So a
And
little
hands coming out.
yeah, as I say, you're under there because you said your kids took over the basement for
Hmm.
virtual school and stuff like
Yep.
that.
Hmm.
How's everything like that going? What's the future look like for the Greifenberg family?
The
Um,
future is bright. I got to wear shades.
that's good.
The kids are doing good. Everyone's looking forward to the holidays. They're lucky. I think next week they have, next week they have a full week and they're off for 2 weeks. And I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot when I was going to school, you had a full 2 weeks off. I
Yeah.
missed that. So they're really looking forward to that. So they may be stressed now because they're doing homework and all that other stuff and playing catch up for the end of the year, but that's on their mind. Vacation is on their mind, and I'm actually in my mind too. I'm looking forward to that because we get a little bit of break too here, and I get to spend time with them. um so it's working out good. Beginning was easy, then it got rough, then it's just like, this is life, for it, life as it is, and temporarily, of course.
Sure.
So, um, and it's been working really good because I'm home. I'm working from home most days, and we get to have lunch together. I'm not rushing home for dinner, or I'm not missing dinner with the family. And I'm not driving. I'm not spending time traveling or stressed or hitting every single red light on the way home or every single light on the way to a client. And you're in a rush, and wear and tear on vehicles. So it's good. It's really helped. With our family bonding, and the kids have a question or a problem, or at lunchtime, hey, how's your day going? How's school? And just small chit chat and see how they're doing, and they know that someone's here. You know, Parents are here to help them out. So it's been good. And as far as the future, real quick, is I think it's gonna be really good too. We hear about the vaccines coming out, and they had the discussions with the FDA about Pfizer, and you got Johnson and Johnson coming out with one shot, and you got Moderna coming out, and you got Oxford coming out. So you got like 4 or 5 choices now, and as long as you stay safe and use common sense, you could you know be on the other side, happy and getting drunk again.
Yeah, I know. It's really interesting for me,
Yeah, how you doing?
uh, overall good, right? Like,
Mhm.
it's been fortunately a good year for business,
Yes, yeah.
and therefore it helps make other things good. I mean, you know, the saying is money can't buy happiness and things like that, and that is 100% true.
Mhm.
But being a person that grew up without much money, we had enough to keep our roofs over our heads and clothes on our back and some food in our stomachs. We didn't have to eat like beans and cornbread, but we also didn't get, filet mignon. So,
Right, right.
um, you know, so I never want to make my childhood and my life sound like it was really complicated, but I also don't want to make it sound like it was, extravagant, because it was neither. Um,
Right.
and with that being said, I also know that my parents struggled to know whether or not they were going to pay a certain bill. They would make conscious decisions on who to pay. Um, I remember one time them making a decision whether or not to go to the store because they were going to have to bounce a check if they did. And
Mm, mhm.
that was a decision to make, was, do we intentionally bounce a check at the
Right.
store
Wow.
they go to, right?
Wow.
That wasn't my entire life, but that was a part of it. And
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. And you remember that. Yeah.
with that, um, they were stressed, right? They fought about silly stuff. Take the trash out. I'm gonna take the trash out. Like things that my
I
wife
do that now.
but I mean, like some of these things, and I know it was because when they went to bed at night, the concern was, are we going to pay a bill or are we going to, not pay a bill? And so I've been very fortunate. My wife has a great career and probably will always be able to work as a nurse practitioner.
Mhm.
And I've done well with real estate and stay busy and making contacts and stuff like that. That even if the housing market itself changes, I'll be a realtor till there's no such thing as a realtor, right? Um,
Right.
and so that helps my day to day. That helps when I'm really frustrated about we're in school, now we're back at home. We
Mhm.
might go back, we might not. This kid might go
Right.
back, but this kid's going to stay at home. All these
How
types
do
of,
you juggle that?
yeah, they're stressful situations, but I know that it could be worse.
Right.
I'll probably personally experience worse,
Mhm.
and and overall, I know that it's going to get better. And I don't know. I don't know how much better 2021 is going to be than 2020. I know it'll be better for the sheer fact that there will be less people available to get sick if some people have already gotten sick and there's a vaccine. I mean,
Right.
that's
Right.
just math, you know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Do the math. It's going to be, less sick people. You would hope.
Right, right, and hopefully that'll make things. But as a realtor, it's so strange because we'll meet up with each other, we'll meet up with our clients, we'll meet up with prospects, we'll meet up with contacts like mortgage people or title people or insurance agents, whatever. We meet up for coffee and drinks, coffee and
Right.
drinks.
Hmm.
And I can't do either right now, and I haven't
No.
been able
Yeah.
to for a while. And even when I couldn't because of other things going on with at home schooling or whatever. So like everybody, I'm looking forward to the day that we can do that again. And
Hmm.
I hope that it comes at the expense of good health and good reason, and not because there's no more left to get sick, something like that.
Right. 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 Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think
I hear you.
2021 will be a better year, but I don't know if it's going to be a great year. And I caution anyone who thinks because there's some vaccines coming that it's going to suddenly be, like 2018 all over, because there's still going to be a limitation on vaccines. There's still a lot of people obviously concerned and cautious about those vaccines. So it's a help, but it's not going to cure all. And of course, there's a lot of conspiracy theory, political agenda, things like that that
Right.
will continue to keep going. That's not going to change. That's not changing. It's going to get better for these people and worse for these people, and um,
It is entertaining. It is, keep me alive.
yeah, yeah,
Debating with people, and it is entertaining.
and, and you and I, and we have a mutual friend that I think I met via you.
Mhm.
That sometimes we like to just have some fun, on the
Yeah,
internet.
it's all fun. We understand we're poking each other. It's just, yeah, it's entertaining. It's how, well, that's what friends do is, they always poke and prod each other and, razz each other and stuff. So that's just what we do.
Absolutely. Um, I don't want to keep you all night, and I'm sure you're just getting your day started because I just know you're a night owl. You can say what you want to say about this lunch with your family, and you don't have to travel. I know you're just getting your day started at 8 9 p.m. So I won't keep you. But is there anything that you need to say, or I cut you off from that you wanted to get out there, or one more plug for your business if nothing else?
Oh yeah, I mean, sure. Just want to tell people, 2021, I'm very optimistic about it, but, be cautious and, just, be safe and use common sense, and don't let the political headaches, ruin friendships and families, especially with the holidays coming up. Use it as an opportunity to reconnect with friends and family. A lot of people are going to be home, and a lot of friends and family members that are lashing out. They're angry, and they're angry for a reason. And you may think it's because of politics or this thing going here or this bill passed or whatever, and it may not have anything to do with that. And instead of communicating them through a text message or through an electronic format, why don't you give them a call? Call them up and say, "Hey, understand that you're having, or, not
Well, that's
necessarily say, hey,
now. Someone's taking this advice really literally.
yeah, yeah, I mean, don't be like, hey, I see you're being a jackass on Facebook. Are you okay? No, just call them up, if especially if you're on Facebook or when people's birthdays are, call them up, wish them a happy birthday, and just leave it at that, or just call them up and say, hey, how's your day going? You know,
Mhm.
how do you talk to your immediate family? How do you talk to your kids? How do you talk to your spouse? How's your day going? Everything okay? Anything I can do to help you out? And don't even bring up politics. Even if they start talking about politics, just kind of change the subject and go, yeah, well, I had a crazy day today. I had this user, their computer was screaming at them, had an FBI warning on it. Oh, let me tell you, she was so freaked out. Let me tell just kind of change the subject.
Yeah.
So, so make sure you reach out to somebody, especially during the holidays. A lot of friends and family members are actually alone. They don't have anybody to talk to, and they're alone and they're isolated, and they can't go out anywhere. They can't go out to a bar and just talk to the bartender or anything like that. So reach out to a friend and family member. That's my true public service announcement.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. I think to your points, people have different things kind of going on. And even if I am literally posting my opinion on Facebook or Twitter or Parlor or whatever site you're a part of, it doesn't really
Right.
matter. The fact of the matter is that I still can't get the exact point across because I don't have the opportunity to have a back and forth.
No,
And
like this. We're talking back and forth.
so if I go like Biden's the best or Biden's the worst, like that's all I can say, right? I can't
Mhm.
really explain why I felt that way or what led me to that decision, whatever. And even if you ask me, I just typing it out, is not the way to do it. And so there's a lot of people that I think, like you said, especially between the amount of stuff that we saw over the last few years, posted and on the news and all this stuff. And then you cap that off in what is always a somewhat explosive time of an election year with
Right.
pent up, probably aggression, right? I mean,
Mhm.
even if you were in a state that didn't do much lockdown, like say Florida, you still had a different year in 2020 than you had in
Oh, of
2019.
course you did. Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter where you're at. And if you're in a place like Michigan, you're in a place, California, and a lot of these other states, then you had a really different year, right? And and you could be the happiest, luckiest person. I've had a great year business wise,
Mhm.
excuse me, and I've done a great job balancing my life. But
Mhm.
I'm fortunate to do that. And I still haven't experienced and loved this year the way I'm supposed to. I shouldn't be talking to you right now. I should be on a boat in the Bahamas because that's what was supposed to be happening literally this week. You know,
Right.
so I'm able to say, it sucks. I'll make up for it when I can. Not everyone's able to do that. I've been
Right.
fortunate to be able to have a vacation every year that I've been married, and I've been married for 16 years. Not
Mhm.
everyone has that. So
Right.
someone was really planning a big event this year, and that big event got changed, or someone had a family member pass away and they couldn't go to the funeral or couldn't go visit their mother passing away.
Right. Very
People
sad.
have different experiences. Not all of them are bad. I'm giving bad examples. Some people have had great experiences,
But
and
there's a lot of those bad examples. Yeah.
so, to your points, you know, just remember those that we don't know everything that everyone's going through. And just because someone's not saying what you like on social media doesn't mean that if you have a chance to see them in person or reach out to them over the phone, that you shouldn't. Maybe you can unfollow them on social media because they're really annoying you. I have friends like that. I've
Yeah.
unfollowed friends who have the same beliefs as me, yet they bother the hell out of me on social media. And so I click unfollow her at least for 30 days. And
Right. Right.
we go out and we have drinks and we have dinner and all those things. So
Sure.
those things in mind. It's the holiday time. It's the end of the year. That's supposed to be a time for change, for resolutions, things like that.
Resolutions, reflections. Yeah.
And so make the best of it. And like we're all humans, so don't
Mhm.
treat people like garbage because
I'll
nobody's
put
garbage.
I'll put it this way real quick. So if someone called you out of the blue and said, "Hey Joe, how you doing?" Let's say you haven't talked to them in like 6 months. Oh, crazy COVID. If a friend of yours just called you randomly out of nowhere, how would that make you feel?
At first, like when you first pick up, you're kind of a little awkward, but then within 10 seconds, you feel
Mhm.
great, right? You warm up, you lighten up, you love it,
You,
right? It's the
you
best.
feel good. So
Yeah.
why not do that for someone else?
Yep.
You make them feel good.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let it end on that. I have a little bit left in here, so I'm gonna say cheers, Jason. Thanks again. I always appreciate
Cheers to you.
and I hope you get your Baby Yoda scarf, man.
There you go. HappyScarves.com.
Thanks a lot. Have a great one.
All right. Be safe. Good night.